everybody. I am Barb Steinberg. I am a teen life coach for girls and a parent coach and a speaker on teen girl issues. Today, I wanted to talk just for a few minutes about what is really actually a huge topic, and I could probably talk about it for 3 hours, and that is girls and their bodies, their weight, and their relationship with food. This was a hot topic in my life when I was a teenager growing up, and it's near and dear to my heart. And I talk to a lot of moms and dads that are concerned about this area of their daughters' lives. So we know that girls are getting a lot of messages from us as their parents, from the media, and from their friends. Unfortunately, with the media, they're getting a lot of messages to have a very specific type of body, and often that body is unrealistic and unattainable. And so we know from research that the more that girls absorb and are influenced by these images, the more body dissatisfaction they have. So anything that we can do to limit that, which I know is hard, or to have open conversations about how those body types are not attainable, or how her body type, if you're 5'9", you can't be 5'2". It's just not the way genetics work, and having kind of frank conversations about that. And then also their peers. We also know that the more that girls talk with their friends about all the stuff that they don't like about their bodies, my thighs are too big, I have cellulite, my stomach, I wish I was a size 2, all that stuff that girls talk about together, the more that they engage in those conversations, the more body dissatisfaction they have. That's not a surprise, right? The more we're talking about something negative, the more negative we feel. So that's important to share with our girls too. Is there any way that they can not engage in those conversations, or not start those conversations if they are? Can they change the subject and talk about something that feels better? So those are some of the things that they can do, but let's talk about where we come in, the adults, because we have a huge role in this, right? We're with them so many hours a day, and we're the ones providing the food usually. So what can we do? So first I'm going to talk about what we don't want to do, and the things that we can do that may lead to more body dissatisfaction in our girls. So the more that we're talking about diets and calorie counting and getting on the scale and what the number says and what we weigh, and exercising a lot and being kind of not listening to our bodies when we're tired and we're going to exercise anyway, or listening to, what else? Yeah, so talking about food in a negative way. So if we're talking about that there are good foods and there are bad foods and there are forbidden foods, so if we're saying things like you should never eat sugar and you should never eat candy, as we know, what happens often is when people restrict us and take something away from us, it looks even more attractive. And if you're a teenager, you're going to find access to those foods if you know that they're forbidden and you want to eat them. So unfortunately, because girls are seeking independence from us, this is one of the ways that they can experience independence. You don't want me to have Snickers bars? Well, I'm going to find a way to get to 7-Eleven and get them. So that's another way for them to experience the power that they're seeking. So we want to be careful about how we speak about our own bodies, how we speak about their bodies, because as we know, they can be very sensitive about the words that we use when we are talking about how they look or what they're eating. So we want to be mindful, and we want to be loving and supportive along the way. So let's talk about what we can do to help them to have, hopefully, a more body positive experience. Okay, so we can talk about health and how to maintain your body and your weight in a more positive way. So we can talk about food being fuel, and that we need it in order to think and to remember and to study and to do homework and to be active and play volleyball and whatever it is that we're into. So we need fuel because we need energy. So food is fuel. And that there are no good foods and no bad foods. And I love this is coming from Sesame Street, so we can still gain our wisdom from Sesame Street at this age. And Sesame Street talks about how there are anytime foods and sometimes foods. I love that. So anytime foods, what I tend to call them, are live foods. So foods that come from the earth, foods that have energy or they're alive, right? So they come from a tree or they come from the ground. Those are anytime foods. And then sometimes foods are foods that are more processed. They come from a factory. So notice that I'm not saying you should never, ever, ever have, these foods that are processed. These are sometimes foods. So it's teaching our girls like to balance that and to listen to their bodies about what kinds of foods that they want. And are you hungry? And how hungry are you? What do you feel like eating? What does your body telling you that it wants? How can you tell how full you are? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, are you at a 5? Where do you want to be? What feels comfortable? What feels too full? So teaching our girls to listen to their bodies about when they want to eat, how much they want to eat, what they want to eat, while giving them some wisdom about balancing the sometimes foods and the anytime foods. And then being active as a family. So rather than saying, oh, you're chubby or you've gone up in a size, you need to go run around the block and run 5 miles or whatever. As a family, we're going to be active, so we're going to go on a family hike, or we're going to go on a bike ride, or we're going to, instead of driving to the ice cream shop, we're going to walk to the ice cream shop. Just kind of making moving and using our bodies kind of a way of life, a value in our family, so then it doesn't become necessarily a punishment or something that you're expecting her to do so that she will change her body. So this can be helpful, and you talking positively about your own body in front of her. Maybe you went to a workout class and you were like, wow, it was really hard and I'm so surprised at how well I did. Or, oh my gosh, I'm up to 20 push-ups. I can't believe how strong my body is. So talking about your own body in a positive way would be awesome. Or even sharing with her, like, I noticed that, I didn't have a breakfast with live food this morning and my energy was kind of low. So I learned from that. So you're kind of sharing your own personal experience and guiding and influencing her along the way. If she happens to be a healthy weight and you see her taking care of her body, then point that out and say, wow, you're doing a great job of taking care of your body. I'm really impressed. You're so energetic, you're strong, you're vibrant. I really admire that about you. There are times when our girls have lost an unhealthy amount of weight or they've gained an unhealthy amount of weight and we're concerned and we're maybe afraid. And that might be a time to bring in a professional, a counselor or a therapist or a coach. Or it might be time to bring in a registered dietitian or nutritionist. I have 2 great interviews that I did with a registered dietitian here in Austin, Texas named Tina LeBoy, and then also with a nutritionist named Carly Pollock. And those interviews can be found on my YouTube channel, Barb Steinberg, LMSW. There's some great information in there. Those 2 women are resources here in Austin if you feel like you need to bring in a professional. What I love about that is that as a parent, it takes you out of the role of having to be the registered dietitian or the nutritionist or the eating disorder specialist. And it allows you to just be the mom or just be the dad. And it lets someone else take on that role of educating and guiding in what can be kind of an emotional topic for you guys to talk about. And then it doesn't have to create conversations where she feels criticized or not good enough by you. You can just be on the sidelines loving her and supporting her while the professional takes over those tough conversations. And frankly, she probably can hear the information even better if she is in a situation where she has some disordered eating going on or some body or food issues that need addressed. And then there's also a workbook that comes highly recommended, and it is called Intuitive Eating for Teens by Elise Resch. And I'm all about intuitive eating. It's what I alluded to a few minutes ago about teaching our girls to listen to their bodies rather than to listening to everything and everyone outside of themselves, telling them what they should eat, how much they should eat, what they should look like. All of that kind of discussion, it creates a separation from them and their own intuition and their body's wisdom. And that just breaks my heart when I know that girls are turning their backs on their own wisdom and their own bodies. So this workbook is just one tool that you can use if you feel like your daughter is a person that would sit down with a workbook and work on it and fill it out and kind of learn about ourselves. So those are some resources for you. Like I said, this is a big topic, and there's so much more I could say. And if you want to know more, if this is a topic or an issue, something that you're concerned about with your girls, and you want to talk more about it in depth and more personalized for you, then please feel free to email me at barbsteinberg.com, and we can set up a parent coaching session. Hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you for listening. And if you like it, I hope that you'll click the little like button or share it with your friends. And have a great day, and I'll see you next week. Bye.